This podcast is produced by Sunnydale Studios.
I don't want just anybody. Let me treat you like somebody. Try to dive on a Rari. This forever, we ain't stopping.
Hello, lovers. Welcome to episode 4, season 2. We are talking a beginner's guide to breathwork with Josie Brown today. We found Josie on Instagram. She's a friend of the show, and we just had to have her on because breathwork's come up a fair bit in different episodes, and I didn't want to just glaze over it because it's such a simple technique that can literally change your life. There are many resources out there that help you facilitate the practice, and I think it can be game changing if you're going through something or you're feeling out of touch or restless. I want this to be a little sign, a little nudge to be like, go for it. It's time. Josie takes us through a breathwork session, a little one at the end as well. I might get a little bit carried away, so enjoy that. And yeah, we talk about the whys, whats and hows, how she got into breathwork, and she has a really insightful, gentle way of explaining how this beautiful practice works. So I'm really excited to have you listen, and I, for one, can tell you I need this today. I don't know if you guys have seen on my Insta, but I was hacked this week. It was an ordeal in the middle of, I'm still moving house. Hackers got a hold of my Instagram, which is a big part of my everyday, having it be my business Instagram, and we're actually quite aggressive and quite triggering in their messaging. So I just need to come back to center and then get those adrenals back in a place where it's nice and regulated and my mind at ease. So to be able to have this chat with Josie today means a lot to me, and hopefully you get something out of it too. Let's get into it. Hello, lovers. Welcome. We are sitting down with the lovely Josie today. Hello. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk all things breathwork. I absolutely adore your page. Watching you just take in all those little moments and be really present. I'd love to know a little bit more about you, where you come from and how you came to be who you are today. Such a bright light.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay.
I moved up to the coast start of last year, so start of 2021, from Wagga, which is 13 hours away, south and inland. So we're not really exposed to anything alternate around breathwork or anything like that. I think the most we have is yoga. And so I just stumbled across a little breathwork meditation session on the beach, and I was like, oh, we'll give that a go. And then it opened up this whole world of exploring myself.
Beautiful. Basically.
And then I just dived straight in, and since then I've been obsessed. And
amazing.
Yeah, it's, I guess, just brought me, like you said, so much presence with the little things.
Yes.
So it's been an incredible journey, and now one that I want to share with everyone.
Amazing. Yeah, because it gets brought up a lot on our show, whether, the psychic that we had on, Medium Hayley, recently, was like, if you feel like you have that spiritual side and you want to get in touch with that more, the first step is to meditate or do breath work, because it brings you to your center. And, even my therapist, from a science background, was like, as a step, you need to do breath work, meditation. It is the key, the first step. Yep. It comes up all the time. So I did want to have a episode where we just sort of focus on it, because I know that it could just be like, look, everyone breathes, but it's so different, isn't it? And is breath work and meditation two different things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I think, breath work by definition is any technique that manipulates the breath.
Okay.
And breath work is the direct route to your nervous system. So I guess the spiritual side, I never thought that I was in touch like that at all.
Okay.
And the science is actually what got me into it. And I have a wild experience where I actually came in contact with my pop, who had passed. And I was like, holy shit, like
This is
you
real.
can't make this up.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been hooked. So,
Yes.
Yeah, and there's so many different types of breath work now.
Yes.
So you can have that breath that's more of a sympathetic stress on your nervous system. So you're like fight or flight almost,
Yes.
intense breathing, or the parasympathetic, which is more your rest and digest and relaxation.
Yep.
And then you can, of course, have both. So it's, the direct route to regulating your reactions.
Amazing.
Yeah, to everything.
Yeah, so because you can do sessions that are just a short session in the morning or night, but I've personally experienced ones where we go for over an hour.
I know, crazy.
And that's where you have those scenarios where you're presented with things that you're like, that's not that can't just not be nothing. That is something. And I'll share a story.
Yeah,
so
I'd love to hear.
About 2 years ago, I went to a breathwork session facilitated down in Burleigh, and it was about a circle of 14 people, and it was set up beautifully, and we got straight into it. And there was a woman to my right, and at the end of the session, we all debriefed on where we went to in that space, and it was this really intense to music breath work session where we just were able to fall in to that space. And for me, having been through a lot of trauma as a child, that's where I went.
Yeah.
But it was a really positive experience because it was almost like I could see myself as a child, and I was sort of digging up parts of my past that I had buried so far away and so deeply that I'd actually forgotten about. But once I saw them, I was like, that's right. And it was so clearing for me. It was like, that happened. You can actually look at that now and not be triggered or feel that trauma. Yeah. And one of the experiences was when I left home, my mum had a bonfire with my items as a bit of a spiteful retaliation. And so when we came out of our debrief, it came out of our work, we had a debrief, and the woman to my right was saying, oh, look, I felt all these things, but one of the really weird things was I saw a little girl and she had a fire next to her, and I felt it to my left, and I was sitting on her left. And I just started bawling my eyes out because I was like, I'd felt this thing. I'd seen this. I'd just experienced it. I was just still trembling from having experienced it. And it was like the walls between us had dissipated, and she had felt it was so strong. She'd felt it through her session as well. Yeah. And I told her afterwards, and we hugged and cried. And she's like, oh, it was peaceful though. And I was like, because I felt at peace. Like it's always been something that's obviously stayed with me and hurt, but I was okay, and it was such a healing session. So I know the power of breath work, and to get to that safe space where it's magical. It's so magical. Yeah.
And I think what you just touched on then, a safe space. Yes. And that's part of what's so important about this work, because through these deep journeys, you're accessing an altered state of consciousness, right?
So that's what it is. It's okay.
Yeah. So you're shutting off your prefrontal cortex and you're accessing the amygdala, where all of your memories are stored. And then that's when the emotion comes up, because you're actually allowing yourself to feel the emotion that you didn't feel at the time.
Oh my God, that makes me want to cry. Yep.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's the importance of a safe space.
Yep.
And being with like-minded people that can hold you in that space.
Yeah.
So that's evident of a safe space, that you were able to feel it.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful story.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I have tried to replicate it at home as well, because it is one of those things, if you're going, you have to fully be in. And there's been times my partner and I, we both love practicing breath work, and so he's done a bit of work with the Mend boys, and
Mend.
Yeah. And so when we ever feel like there's that, that fight of feminine and masculine energy within us, we try and come back. And one time in particular, we did set up at home, saged the space, and this is coming from someone who, like, literally 4 years ago would not have, no way would I have done any of this, but yeah, cleared the space, created a safe space at home, had the ceremonial cacao, and we were able to, in that session, like that particular session, like heal so many traumas from our individual pasts and be able to come closer together. And just I want that for people. I want to be like, let's open the conversation that there's ways of getting through those sort of blockages that are available to everyone if you just let it happen. Like let it in and know about what's out there. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah. And you don't know what you don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like when you have that feeling of, you know, you can feel something's off.
Yes.
You can like keep trying to think about what's wrong, or you can actually just surrender to it.
Yes.
And just allow the feelings to come through. You don't need to add a story to everything, you know?
No. Yes.
So yeah, beautiful story.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just being open to other techniques as opposed to, and not shutting out other techniques, like go and get your counselling and
of course,
and do your exercise and talk and all that sort of stuff. But just I think all these things together and something is beautiful. It doesn't hurt, like give it a go type thing. And so if someone wanted to touch on, if they've never done it before, they've never experienced breath work, is it best to just maybe tiptoe into an app, or is it better to go see someone? There's so many facilitators now, right?
There is, and it's so amazing to see. But I think the beautiful thing about this journey is that you really can't get it wrong, because it's so unique to who you are and what's right for you. And like you said, we're so lucky and blessed now with social media. So there is apps, an amazing app called Open. It's based in Los Angeles. They have so many online. So if you're a bit anxious about going in person, then that's a great place to start. But yeah, there is groups. Find a guide that you trust if you want to. But yeah, tiptoe in or dive straight in. You really cannot do it wrong. Yeah.
And you personally, you do it on the Gold Coast. You facilitate on the Gold Coast, and you do one-on-ones, I see.
Yeah. So one-on-one space is very special to me. It's sort of how I went through my journey as well.
Yep.
So yeah, one-on-ones on the Gold Coast and online as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. So possibilities are endless. There's always
so good.
something.
And it does work. Like I do my daily, not every day, but when I am able to sit still and know that I really need it, I go through an app and it's obviously a different experience, but it's still super effective.
And you notice the difference when you don't do it right. Like it's like, oh, something's a bit off today. What didn't I do?
Easily rattled. And we're actually going to do a little one at the end of this as well, just to give you a little taste. If you are sitting in your space, whether it's in your car or at home or you're at your desk, and when I say car, obviously not driving, but I'm picturing. I think the car is a magical space. As a mum, like when we get home from somewhere and the kids run into the house, I take at least another 3 minutes to send it. As long as they're safe inside, I know the other mums will listen and be like, oh my gosh, yes, that is a zone. And that, take that time, use that 3 minutes rather than scrolling through Insta. Maybe absolutely. Just take a deep breath and learn some tools from today that we'll do later on at the end of this app. So what's one of the craziest experiences, if you're willing to share, in terms of your one-on-ones? Like what sort of moments that you've sort of experienced in your time as doing this work that you've gone, this is what I'm supposed to do? Can you share any particular moments?
Yeah, I'd love to, absolutely. So my personal journey, when I stumbled across the online on the beach session, at the time I was managing some health issues. So I lived in a constant state of pain and discomfort. And I didn't make the connection at the time to breath work. I was just like, oh, okay, let's just go and breathe and do this session. And where I was at the time, I would wake up and think about my pain. Am I comfortable? How can I make myself more comfortable? Do I need Panadol? Always monitoring. This was always in my mind, even when I was out with friends. And I did this 10-minute breath, and it was the first time in my entire life and throughout that journey of about 1.5 years at the time that my mind had stopped. And I wasn't associating myself with pain. I wasn't even aware of it.
Wow.
I was just there and completely present with my body for the first time, I think, honestly, in my entire life. And when I came back out of it and opened up my eyes, I was like, holy shit, I live here.
Yeah.
It was like presence.
Yes.
And that's the thing. It's not about like these wild out of body experiences, which are fun and amazing, of course, but it's not about the health benefits. It's being here,
coming back to center,
coming home, and opening your eyes and noticing what's around you. And so it became this tool for me to use to not only manage my pain, but almost surrender to it and not be so. That was my story.
Oh, I got chills. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
But it was my story.
Yeah.
And it was what I was living my day-to-day life by. And then by implementing the breath in the morning and the night, it wasn't the first thing I thought about in the morning or the last thing I thought about at night. I was able to switch off from that. And then I think through that, and going deeper and having these beautiful experiences, you know, connecting to my pop, like weird visuals and out of body sensations, I was like, oh my God, like what? And then the opportunity came up to do a facilitator training. And I thought about it and I was like, oh no, I'll keep this for myself. I'll gatekeep this little practice. And then the idea of it wouldn't go away. Yeah. And I thought, you know, if maybe someone's going through what I was going through, and if I can be that person for them, then of course I'm going to do that. Yeah. You know, so to be the person that I wish I had. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And I feel like it's crazy. It's such a crazy thought that it is finding that peace. And it's available, like it's just right there for the taking. Yeah. It's like right here. All it is staying still. Yeah. And I think in a world where it's like being busy, and I always catch myself saying, oh, I'm so busy, too busy. And it grinds my gears because I don't want to be busy, but we just are sort of forced to as modern day humans in a rat race of a world at the moment. And we can't be bored. Yeah, no, and it's when we're like, we have space, it's like, oh, what am I'm not doing
fill
anything.
It with. Yeah, what am I going to fill it with?
It's like, what a blessing to be bored.
Yes. And I've always said, as a creative, I can't tell you the last time I was bored. My mind's always busy. It's always like, what can I create? What can I do? And I even get funny watching a movie or binge watching a show. I'll be doing something. I'll be cleaning at the same time or, you know, just trying to multitask. So breathwork for me was when it just came at the right time. It just reminded me that the beauty is in just the ability to stay still and look within, and honestly was a huge part of my personal healing process. And I'm so grateful to have found it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, amazing.
And don't you think as well, so when you release emotions and you're creating space, right, with the breath, and then that's just more space to think more creatively. Yeah. So you have these ideas come through in that space.
Yes.
So it's so like hand in hand with creativity.
Honestly, and that's those who've been following my page for a long time would know that definitely for a good amount of time there I was writing heaps of poetry, and it would be to the sunrise. And it would be quite often I would have done my workout in the morning, sat on the beach, and this is before the kids are even awake, sit on the beach and write my poetry. And I had not done that I haven't done it recently for about 2 years because I've been so caught up in my business and life, and I felt it recently, and it was affecting me as a person. I was like, I haven't written for ages. I haven't dug my feet into the ground. Yeah. I was that person that used to stop when I was in the thick of my healing journey and really making it a priority. Yeah. I was writing so much poetry. I was, stopping and my friends would pay me out because I'd take a picture of any flower that we passed or a bird and be like, isn't it beautiful? Yeah. And I almost got to a point where I just was sort of forced to stop noticing those things. And I made a conscious decision to move closer to the beach recently, and we moved in this week, and I
Amazing.
already feel like I'm back, and I feel inspired, and I'm going to force myself to not be busy, to take the time and take, you know, all that inspiration from the beauty of the ocean, from the beautiful sunrises and sunsets, which I've written about so many times before.
It's so beautiful.
So I think making it a priority is a huge thing. If you're feeling off kilter or unsettled, it's your choice to be like, no. And the benefits of it is like life-changing, really. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know not everyone can move to the beach, but you know, just in terms of making the time to connect to nature, and in turn be still.
Yeah.
We preach about it all the time.
Yeah, I know we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just actually following through.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to move into love letters because we had so many questions come through for you. So I don't want to run out of time. Love letters. The first one we've answered. What is breath work? And the next question though is, how and why did you get into teaching breath work? So you did touch on that before, but do you feel that this is something that you'll be doing forever?
Yeah, I think it'll continue to grow. I've sort of delved more into meditation.
Okay.
And guiding that. But
so what is the difference? The breath work, the breath work's more linked to the nervous system.
Yeah. And then
meditation.
So what breath work does, it alters your brainwave state. So if you're like me and you could never meditate, monkey mind, I think we can all relate to that. Breath work alters your brainwave state. So 95% of the time we're in the high beta, which is your analytical thinking mind, your go, go, go logic. Through the breath, you alter that down to a low alpha / beta, which is your meditative dreamlike state. So you're actually almost like you're asleep, but you're awake.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to be there.
I know. And through that and through meditation, then you can rewire limiting beliefs. You know, you can go on these deep visual journeys, and I love guiding that, love facilitating that. So, it goes hand in hand, I think. But yeah, meditation is really beautiful, and it can take you on some really deep journeys. So, it'll continue.
So you've been focusing on that?
Yeah, it'll continue to grow and expand as I do, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you find that you have to, are you a yogi? Or can you do the meditation and breath work without even
absolutely
bending and
yeah.
stretching?
It depends on the day, how I'm feeling. But yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah,
it's all connected.
yeah. Just
Absolutely.
that movement, hey?
Yeah.
And then also I see quite often that you're out in nature.
Yes.
In the water, in the waterfalls.
Always.
It helps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my Springbrook was a big part of my healing journey when I was going through my split, and to this day, like if I feel a little bit lost, I'll make the way up the mountain and just sit. I had some beautiful experiences up there. So
I go Mount Tambourine.
Okay,
it's
beautiful.
Actually crazy. Before I moved up here, I had a psychic reading, and they were like, "Oh, have you ever been to Mount Tambourine?" And you hear me in the recording, I'm like, "No, like I've never heard of Mount Tambourine." And then they moved on, and then halfway through last year, when I did my first deep breath work, I came out of it, and I was like, "I need to go to Mount Tambourine."
Wow.
And then I listened to the recording, and you can hear me say no, and I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You'll be really drawn up there."
Yeah, right.
And it was just crazy.
And now it's your place.
Yeah, now it's my place.
Oh, that's beautiful. How do you feel? Is your family on board with your spiritual journey?
Dad's been a little bit he tries, bless him, but I don't know. He actually did a short breath work with me, and that was so beautiful to witness him. It was quite funny. It was like the end of the breath.
Yes.
And I came back out of it, and Dad would just sort of sit there, and he was just like so present, and so like I could just see him be still for probably the first time in his life.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dad," and he came back out of it. He was like, "Oh, works, doesn't it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes." And that was just a little
bring
one.
him to the light
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I find that it's not for everyone, but I think if we can, bring it in a gentle way,
Yeah,
then once they
absolutely.
try it, it's like pretty
No
intense.
going back.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the questions is, someone's never practiced breath work, where do you start? So let's just touch, like, if like first step, would it be just looking up local facilitators?
Yeah, local if you prefer, in person.
Yeah.
If you're a bit nervous about that, go online. There's so many YouTube videos. Insight Timer.
I forgot about that.
yeah.
Right.
Insight Timer is a good one as well. I actually have a few recordings on there.
You do? Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And like I said before, open the app. But in person, finding a guide that you trust, that you feel is acting with integrity and holding a safe space.
Yes.
Is really important.
Yeah.
Someone that you can feel safe with.
Yeah. I can imagine if that's not there, I've not experienced it, but if that was missing, it would be a bit of a waste of time almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to connect with the person for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. Question here, why is it an important part of people's routines? If you're a seasoned breath worker and you're doing it every day, why do you think people would be so committed to such a practice?
I think you just notice the shifts and you notice the number. I think personally the number one benefit is stress relief, or it's the short breath, it's a short induced sympathetic stress on your body.
Yes.
It's like, why would I induce a sympathetic stress on my body? Aren't I stressed enough? It's like,
right.
We'll know when stressful situations do show up, you can be there and show up more grounded and, actually becoming conscious and aware of your breath. If you do notice your breath is getting heightened, you can actually, I can regulate this.
Yep.
I can control myself in this situation. Because if you're not aware of your breath, it's like this carried away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by becoming aware and gaining control, then you just more present and able to regulate yourself.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're a child that's been taught this in therapy, if they suffer from high anxiety or a high-powered, successful, professional. Yeah. There are all ends of the spectrum that will literally, that's how they get through. Like it's a teaching mechanism that works, and so many people aren't doing it.
Yeah. It's crazy to think, like, 23 years of my life and no one ever told me to breathe deeply. Like, you're telling me all I have to do is take some deep breaths.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yes.
It's always accessible to you, and that's the main thing.
Oh, amazing. All right, we're going to do a flashback faves and we're going to get into our little breathwork. Flashback faves. So each week I ask our guests a flashback fave to sort of give us a little bit of insight into your childhood and whether it was a favorite show, song, movie, a moment in time, that little bit of nostalgia to end the show.
Do you remember those like blow up pools?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I just remember being like outside at our home and having that blow up pool, but always choosing to run through the sprinkler.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yes.
And just being outside and just crazy running around.
It's no different to how you are now under the waterfalls.
I know, I've like rekindled that connection.
There's a connection there. I love that. Yeah. We didn't have a pool growing up, but we did have those blow up pools.
Yeah.
And sprinkler time was, and in the Logan heat, it was blistering hot. The water would come out so hot. Yeah. But that was part of the fun. Yeah. So fun. I love that. Oh, and then we also have our segment, Words to Live Your Week By. Words to live your week by. So just a piece of text that you rely on that the listeners might benefit from too when they hear today.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was shared to me by actually from Amend.
Amazing.
He said it on a call and it's always just stuck with me. It's the simple things we complete in excellence on a daily basis that hold the most power.
Love that.
Yeah.
Simple things.
Simple.
Yeah, no, and I'm preaching it all the time to simplify whenever people get into a bit of a rut. Yeah. It's so easy to get even more out of control, out of hand and overwhelmed. But taking those steps to simplify is so powerful. Yeah. Just almost surrendering and going, you know what, I'm going to strip it right back Even with the hackers that happened this week, it was almost like I did almost surrender. I went, you know what? It's probably not the end of the world if I don't have my Instagram. I'll start a new one because it's just like there's worse things in the world. But just that thought process of like not getting overwhelmed, because you would end up just normally just throwing your hands up in the air and going, it's all, I give up. But just simplifying, going, almost surrendering and going, you know, you have that, and then taking the steps from there. But that's beautiful.
Yeah, your daily practices. It's like the simple things.
Yeah.
You know, see the sun. Take a few deep breaths. Yeah. Barefoot in nature.
Yeah. Honestly, so story time. When I first started this podcast, we had this one bit of feedback where someone was like, come on now, you can't say go walk in nature as a form of healing. It's just not that simple. And I was like, kind of is. And I've never said that that's all you do, but it's definitely a part of it. Reconnecting with nature, there was where we came from. So that grounding, when you take that away from you, you will feel the effects of not being connected to this greater thing. So whilst it's not everything and the only step you take, I definitely think my healing journey from experience, the moment I surrendered and went back to the earth, put my feet on the ground and took a deep breath and took in the beauty of the world, was the moment that I was really more in touch with, you know, being able to heal. So
and there's a difference between going barefoot in nature and then being present barefoot in nature, exactly. Right? Like you can be walking through and like looking around, but I know, for example, we live just like one street from the beach and would watch the sunrise every morning. And then when I started getting into this journey, and I went one morning and did breath work before the sunrise, and I opened my eyes and I cried. Because I was like, holy shit, I watch this sunrise every morning, but I'm not actually present. But when you put the breath there, it's like, oh my God, look at the sun. Like, feel the sun. You know?
And I will always choose to be that girl. Like I know it gets you can get paid out for being so present. But I'll always stop and be the girl. Any of my kids, they're like, oh, come on, Mum. It's like that every night. I'm like, I know, but isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, I know. My dad's the same. Like he come up to visit, and we were just doing little things and, you know, going out for breakfast. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited, like getting ridiculously excited. And he's like, for what? I was like, well, breakfast. Like I don't care.
No, they got to deal with it. It's good. I choose this life. I love that. Okay, so let's get into our little breathwork sesh. I'm ready. I need this.
Amazing.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely if you're driving, please pull over.
Side note.
And finding just a quiet place, somewhere you won't be distracted for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to say. The breath will do, I think we'll do, can we do 3 rounds? We'll do 10 breaths.
Amazing.
Then 20 and then 30.
Okay.
And so the breath that you'll do is a conscious connected mouth breath. So all through the mouth, no pause at the top and no pause at the bottom.
Right.
Trying to bring the breath deep into your belly, up into your chest, and then just letting it fall out. So it sounds a little bit like this. Just like that.
Amazing.
Between each round, we'll hold the breath for a short time. Throughout the practice, you may feel a little bit lightheaded. You may get some tingles. That is completely normal.
Okay.
Remember that you are in control. But at any point it gets too much, you can always just return to your nasal breaths.
Nice.
So closing down your eyes wherever you are. Just start to become aware of your breath and not need to change it. Becoming aware of your body, gentle fall of your chest, rise and fall. And in 5 seconds, we'll start our first round of 10 breaths. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Fully in and out. fully in and out. Find your pace, your rhythm. Last 5 here. Last breath in, all the way up and holding at the top. Holding in stillness for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Straight into the next round, fully in and out. Fully in. And see if this round, if you can bring in a little bit more energy. Maybe picking up the pace a little bit. That's it. You're about halfway on this round. Last 3. Last 2. Last breath in, all the way up and holding at the top. Relax your body, relax everything, relax the muscles in your face. Just be here. You may feel the energy rush through your body presence. Holding for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it all go. And then straight into the last round, fully in and out. Fully in. Notice what's changed in this round. You're here now. Starting to bring the breath more into your belly. And slowing it down into the belly. Last 5 breaths. Start to bring the breath back through your nose. Last 3 here. Last 2. Last breath in. And just hold at the top. Just holding at the top. Just want to bring the breath back through your nose now. In through the nose and out. In through the nose and out. Just really slow it down now. Come back to your body. Starting to slowly exhale. Into the nose. Slow exhale. Now bring it back all through your nose, really slowing it down. Just being here with yourself. Becoming aware of your heartbeat and your body again in the space. And when you're ready, return by fluttering your eyes open. Staying with your nasal breaths. Noticing how you feel now compared to the start.
Oh my goodness.
You went deep really quickly on that third round.
I forget how much it takes over your actual adrenals and body to the point that I shake.
Yeah.
My body shakes and I actually can't control it because
Yeah.
I'm conscious that this is being filmed at the same time, which I was trying to. That was my major fight in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Is that you're being filmed, you're going to be judged.
Yeah.
But I was trying to surrender, and by the third, I let go, and that uncontrollable shaking takes over, and you surrender.
Yeah.
And also just the floating.
Yeah.
You shake and you feel like you're floating, which is so needed.
Yeah, and that's why when I said to hold the breath, I don't think you heard me.
No.
You just kept breathing. I'm like, she's gone somewhere.
I was not with you. I was gone.
She was like, let me have my moment.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I didn't do a final hold on the last round because I felt like you just went there really quickly.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so, this work is so individualized.
Yes.
There's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
You cannot do it wrong.
Yeah.
You just,
I've been in sessions where the crying is so uncontrollable that you actually can't control your breath.
Yeah.
But it's about at the end identifying and going back to center.
Yeah.
But that's the game. That's you want to feel that feeling, right? You're not essentially crying, but you want to be feeling so deeply that breath has taken you there.
Yeah.
And doing what it needs to do in order for you to get what you need out of the session.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about like regulating your emotions, it's about feeling them.
Yeah.
And letting them process.
Feeling the feels.
Feeling
all
the
about
feels,
it.
yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope people were able to join in, and of course it's here. You can come back. You can press rewind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, hop on to a multitude of apps that are available, but the one that you're on is called Insight Timer. But if you're on the GC or even remotely, you can get in touch with Josie.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
and we'll put her handle in our show notes so you can follow her and see the light that she spreads and see what. I just love how present you are. You know, there's such a beautiful energy that you share through even just watching your page, even for the short time I have, just going, oh, this girl gets it. You totally get it, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'll be over here just trying to spread the same message through my words and poetry in this potty. So so lovely to meet you in person today. And
too.
I hope the listeners take what they need to, whether they're already in it or they've been thinking about it or they completely have never heard of it. Now you know. Yeah. It's out there and it's there for the taking. So thank you, Josie.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Amazing. And there we go. Thank you for listening. If you loved this week's episode, please leave a review or provide a 5-star rating. It really helps us let us know that you're loving the show. And of course, any DMs and comments and shares, we really appreciate as well. All the feedback has been amazing. Thank you so much. You can stay up to date with us and follow our socials, Big Love Energy Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. But we'll pop all the social handles in the show notes below. Thanks for listening, lovers. I can't wait to get into next week's episode. We'll chat then. Bye.
I don't want just anybody.